This is a sharp reaction from the Russian side to these sanctions that were put in by the United States side this week. Here's what the Russian prime minister had to say just yesterday or overnight. Dmitry Medvedev, he said, this is a stark warning here to the United States side not to go any further. He said if some ban on banks' operations or their use of one or another currency follows, it would be possible to clearly call it a declaration of economic war. He went on to say it would be needed to react to this war economically, politically, or if needed, by other means. And our American friends need to understand this. So a lot of people are taking that comment as Medvedev saying, first, to the U.S., don't go any further than this. And secondly, we can react to economic sanctions with means outside of the economic realm. So presumably physical or kinetic means as well. Remember, all this goes into place because the United States agreed with Great Britain that the poisoning of Sergei Skripal and his daughter in the UK earlier this year was in fact done by Russian intelligence. It's a Russian nerve agent that was at the center of all that. There was a formal determination by the United States side that the Russians were behind it. U.S. intelligence concluded that, and that triggers under the law this round of sanctions here. They'll go into effect on August 22nd, but we'll wait and see what further response we have from the United States. We haven't seen any official statement from the president at all on this. The president's been relaxing in Bedminster, New Jersey this week, taking a light schedule and playing a little bit of golf. So we'll see if he comes back to Washington with more of this on his mind next week, guys.
You know, I like how you play everything straight, Eamon. So that's why I'm here, though. So now,
go ahead.
When you're with your friends, and they're not your friends, your colleagues, just pose the question: why doesn't Putin just push the buttons and tell Trump that he obviously has on Trump, and tell him to back off? Or would they tell you that doing it this way is Trump's diversion to make them think
to make it look as if they're being tough, but they're not actually being tough. So the Russians have an incentive to really squawk and complain, and make it seem like Trump is really effective and tough when he's actually not.
You know who might have the answer? That guy who was on late night TV, the guy who's not the story. You know the guy I'm talking about, who's not the story, although he was on Jimmy something or other.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see where you're going.
So ask him.
I'm following the dots here.
Yeah, is this a diversion? Because Putin could tell him to back off, or is it just to make it look good? Or this?
Look, I think we've got it here. Take a look at the ruble.
I know.
And the strength against the dollar. I think we've got a chart here.
They're making it look good.
Look at that. There's a real reason here. Yeah. Look at the dollar strength against the ruble going up just over the past 24 hours there.
Really
and you
making
see
it look
why
good.
The Russians have reason to squawk here. I mean, there's a real complaint that the Russians have economically. This is having real impact. And I think it's because investors are concluding that the United States is serious here and willing to go further. And they thought maybe that the United States after Helsinki was going to hold back. So I think the market is trying to adjust here to what you've got in terms of Trump's rhetoric about Russia, which is very, very friendly, and then Trump administration actions on Russia, which aren't necessarily friendly, which seem to be a little bit decoupled from Trump himself. Now, that could be a deliberate strategy by the president to sort of talk nice face to face and then carry a big stick behind the scenes. That could be what's happening here. We need a little bit more clarity from the White House on this. They haven't really commented on exactly what it says.
Andrew won't even look over at me.